Hello and welcome to another episode of Rock Tumbling Weekly, where I am tired. So thanks for joining me this week. For those who have just stumbled upon this video, I'm Shannon and I love rocks and gemstones, and this is my weekly journal documenting all of my rock tumbling projects. So there are a lot of different stones in a lot of different barrels, many different methods that I use, and today I'm going to show you everything that's in my barrels. And it's another winter day. It's chilly again today, but I'm in Texas, so that's Texas cold. It's not like Minnesota cold for sure, but I'm all bundled up and I'm ready to go. So I have some, interesting results from last week using the new Vibratory tumbler, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the pieces that we have. So let's get started. Let me show you my barrels. This is the red calcite after 4 days in course, and you could see it really shaped it nicely. Some pieces broke up, so I'm gonna take out some broken ones, and yeah, that one just split right in half. And we've got some pieces that this one just really isn't going to shape completely. I'm gonna take this one out too, but it's ready to run in medium, and it really coarse. I don't know if you could see how frosty that looked, but coarse, this really needs to be corrected with some medium grit there. So coarse did its job in shaping. Now the surface just needs to be smoothed out, but it's nice. You've got some really huge variation here. You've got this dark red, and you've got what looks like this dark pink calcite here. But let me pick out all of the pieces that broke and get this into medium grit. Okay, here is the Crazy Lace agate after its second week in course, and it's still shaping slowly, but we're getting there. This might take 4 to 5 weeks in course to really get some nice shape going. But you can see the patterns in the rock right now, and they are just it's so lovely. Wow. This is the type of stone that you could just sit here and pick through and just look at each one every single week when you rotate and recharge the barrels. I mean, so pretty. All right, well, I'm going to get these back in their barrel with some more coarse grit, and we'll see them again next week. This is the sunstone after 1 week in course, and you could see that it's really shaped well. All of the sharp edges are gone. It's looking really nice. This is definitely ready for medium grit. And for those who are curious about the quality of rocks from the unboxing videos recently, this was received from the Gem Shop in unboxing video number 4. And, I think this is some really nice quality tumbling sunstone. So this just shows you a quick turnaround of when I received it, and if you watched last week when I showed the rough, and after 1 week in course. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and get this in a barrel in medium. Okay, so just to show you that weird stuff happens. This is the Lavic siding Jasper, and you'll see that there's water in it, but ignore that. When I opened this barrel, it was bone dry. like there's evidence that there was water in it because there is some slurry, and it's kind of formed a concrete on the outside of this. Actually, it's very, very hard. But there's absolutely no sign of leakage underneath the barrel. It really just looks like it evaporated or something, but it was absolutely empty. So I'm putting some water back in this. I'm gonna put it back in the barrel and let it run to try to loosen up this slurry cement that has formed on the outside of these stones. But, you know, I can see coarse grit up here in the seal. So maybe there was just some air access and it evaporated. But like I said, there's zero sign of leak underneath the barrel. None whatsoever. So weird things happen. Here is the lava exciting Jasper, and I did manage to get all of that cement-like slurry off, and essentially most all of the coarse grit is still in there, and this is essentially like a bust of a week. It didn't change much at all. So I'm gonna, in fact, see some of that is still stuck on. So I'm going to put some more coarse in here, get it running again. And I guess I'll just pretend like this week didn't happen. Sometimes weird things happen. Here is the yellow Jasper after a week in medium grit, and you know, it's feeling fantastic. That surface is smooth and it's just looking lovely. You know, just where I wanted it to be at this point. And like, just really gorgeous. So I'm gonna get this washed up, do a wash cycle, and get this into fine grit for a week. And we are well on our way to polishing. Excellent. This is the Septarian after, I think, 4 days in medium, and really smooth surface and looking really nice. Yeah. There's a few pieces without the calcite in them, but they're still looking really nice. Yeah. I'm really happy I'm tumbling this stone. All right, so I'm gonna get this into a barrel with some fine grit and run that for a couple of days and see how that does. Here is the Unikite after 1 week in fine and looking nice. Great color. So nice. The surface is feeling smooth. I mean, you'll see I do leave in some imperfections in these. I still want them to look natural, but in general, the overall shape is soft. This one looks like it might have chipped a little bit in there. Can't tell. But, pretty colors. So I'm going to give this a good wash cycle and get this into extra fine grit. All right. is the Indigo gabbro after its run in the Raytech Tumble Vibe, the Vibratory tumbler. And the verdict is, they're okay. Watch to the end of the video to see my full thoughts of my experience with the Tumble Vibe. But I just wanted to show you, and I'll post, a little bit of that video clip from last week as well. And so, are they shinier? Yeah, they're shinier for sure. But there were some side effects I didn't expect. Like, there's a lot of polish still stuck in some of these surface imperfections. And I'll tell you more about that at the end of the video. It just won't come out. And so I was kind of frustrated about that. So, did a run through fine and extra fine make the Indigo gabbro surface perfectly smooth? No. There's still a lot of surface imperfections. And, I still think that these look okay and not great because there's little speckles of polish still in the imperfections. But it's better. It's better. So definitely shinier for sure. But it didn't, like you see right there, it didn't smooth everything out. But yeah, we'll talk more about the vibe at the end. Thanks again for joining me this week to see what's going on in my rock tumbling barrels. It's been an interesting week. I had some successes. I really like how the sunstone looks and everything else is going pretty good. What happened with the lavic siding Jasper, the water just evaporating, never happened to me before. Sometimes that happens. Luckily, it's a hard stone in the coarse stage, so it didn't really do any damage to it. It just wasted some time. So now we've got that going on a cycle again, and we'll see how that looks next week. So, as I promised, my thoughts on the Raytech Tumble Vibe. Interesting. There's definitely a learning curve between rotary tumbling and vibratory tumbling. Wasn't a slam dunk experience for me. Did it improve the gabbro that I put in it? A little bit, but it wasn't miraculous. Now, I was trying to fix something that didn't turn out well in the rotary tumbler, so maybe that was my problem. I didn't start something from fresh in coarse in the rotary tumbler and then move it to the vibe, something I was fairly happy with. But there's pros and cons. The pros are it's definitely faster. It took 5 days to do what would have taken at least 2 weeks in the rotary tumblers. And it used less grit. So there's a cost saving measure there too. But the things that I struggled with were, you really have to watch it a lot more than you do the rotary tumbler because you want to keep a certain balance of water in there, and so you always have to check to make sure it hasn't dried off. Add a few more spritzes of water. It's really loud. And I think the Raytech version is even louder because it's got the plastic barrel instead of the rubber barrel, which kind of absorbs some of that noise. And during the polishing phase, what seemed to happen is that the surface of the gabbro was not perfectly smooth. It had a lot of little micro imperfections, and it still managed to get a shine. It got a really good shine, actually. However, the vibe, embedded that polish into every single little imperfection and I couldn't get it out. I did a wash and burnish cycle in the Vibe itself with borax and soap. Didn't do anything. And then I put it in a rotary tumbler with borax and soap and water, and that helped somewhat. But then I ended up having to take a toothbrush to it, and that took a long time. And it still didn't get all of it because honestly, the little micro imperfections there were smaller than the toothbrush bristles, so they couldn't actually get in there to dig it out. And that took most of an evening or most of the day to try to get the polish out of those imperfections. And when you polish something in a rotary tumbler with water, there's enough water in there to really prevent the polish from really settling into crevices. You still want to do a burnish or a wash afterwards to get some of that stuff out, but it's not going to embed it in like the Vibe did. Like the Vibe really, I mean, it really just packed that stuff in there. And I've got the Indigo gabbro in yet another burnish wash cycle right now. I'm just going to try to run it for maybe a day or so to see if I can get some of that out. But it was really frustrating that if I didn't have a perfectly smooth surface there, that polished kind of got packed in. And there was enough water. It was liquidy enough and it was flowing smoothly in there, so it's not like, I really don't know. So that was a little frustrating. So my experience with the Vibratory tumbler, not the greatest so far, but I'm still gonna keep trying. I'm gonna put the obsidian through that I've had some bruising on recently to see if it will improve that. But coming up on the channel, I've gotten some requests to repeat some things that I've done way back in the past. I've gotten a lot of requests to do labradorite. The first batch that I did just didn't turn out well. And those who have tumbled labradorite before know that it's notoriously really difficult to get a nice, smooth surface and polish on it. Mine didn't turn out well. Larvikite, indigo gabbro, fire quartz, and I'll probably do obsidian again. And I'm not gonna do just all repeats coming up. I'm still gonna mix in some new stuff, but I have had some requests to do some things again. And I'm gonna start fitting those into the queue. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this extra long outro, but I had a lot of thoughts about what happened this week. So if you are an experienced rock tumbler, a brand new rock tumbler, and you're interested in seeing how I tumble a wide variety of gemstones using different techniques, then make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see whenever I post a new gemstone video. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week.